I think capital is the ultimate phrase here. I mean, we all know there are certain kinds of capital. There's financial money, there's intellectual capital, there's social capital, there's spiritual capital. I mean, God is the ultimate investor of all of this. Has given us all different kinds of capital to use.
Hmm.
And so how do we involve ourselves to use our intellectual capital to channel financial capital to those that need it? Unfortunately, poverty in America is an incredibly complicated thing. I'd say by and large, when you go to rural India, let's say, it's very uncomplicated. There is a lack of financial capital in those markets, where you wish a $200 loan could affect, in major ways, poverty on the south side of Chicago and effectuate job creation and economic development. $200 loan can actually do that in certain places in the world, where in other places there are more complicated problems that need to be untangled and worked on, not just plugging a financial capital hole. So then that's where the whole spectrum of charitable capital and financial capital really have a role to play in all of this. But what we're narrowly focused on is where we can use pension funds, insurance, high net worth family office capital, where they were going to be investing it anyhow. But how do you invest it in a bank that is specifically targeting low income women, a lot like my mom, who is the working poor, working to provide for a family as a single mom? How do we get behind those entrepreneurs who are forced to be entrepreneurs but don't have access to the productive means of their day? In the Bible, in biblical times, it was land. It was access to land, which is why gleaning was so important. But gleaning even involved work and effort.
Yeah.
And there's something beautiful about that. But how do we give people capital so that they can get a return on their effort? And that's, ultimately, and something we talked about probably years ago, Henry, you might have forgotten. But, when I read Isaiah 65, to me, that was really when it all came together. And for those like all of us, who might not know Isaiah 65 by heart, just to recap, in the middle of the chapter, Isaiah is, saying he sees the new heaven and the new earth. God is declaring the new heaven and the new earth, and this is what it will look like. And it will look like a person is able to plant in a field and they eat of the harvest. And a person builds a house and they live in that house. It will no longer be that somebody builds a house and a different person lives there, or a different person gets to eat of the field, and that no longer will children be born into misfortune. And that, if that's the new heaven and new earth that's really being depicted, it's really one of empowerment. How do you help somebody build their own house where they live in it? And how do you help them plant a field where they get the upside of the production? And that ultimately is what a loan and other kinds of financial services help people tap into. And we actually make affordable housing loans. Our newest portfolio company, Vastu, has now over $400 million of $10,000 a piece single family loans to help people construct their own home. And it's this unbelievable company, 40% loan to value. So from a banker standpoint, very low risk. We have a 0.4% delinquency rate. So again, very low risk. We're growing almost 100% per year, which makes it a very exciting, investment proposition, profitable company. But to be helping, hundreds of thousands of people build their own home and live in it is very much a fulfillment of Isaiah 65.